So anything that we study, it's best to also put it into practice. So like we studied attention, it's best to take proper breaks between studying. In the previous chapter we studied about how attention, we get distracted with other stimuli and all of those things, obviously. So people who have this study plan ki today psychology, 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 psychology full day, then tomorrow also psychology, 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 it doesn't work because you get fatigued and bored and your attention span is just little. So best to plan your days, keep breaks when you're studying so that you don't have to suffer just because like you're spending the hours and still not getting the outcome. Okay, so let's go with emotions, the fifth chapter. A film Inside Out is just a beautiful depiction of this entire chapter. In fact, not just this, it will help in the first year also, because first year they speak about learning, they speak about a little bit about memory. Here we don't have a lot about memory, we don't have much at all, but it is a very useful chapter in that sense. So we'll speak about emotions. uh, yep, if you guys can watch that movie, I know that Twinkle had tried and all of those, but still it's beautiful. I'm going to upload a video on explaining the movie also. Okay, so yeah, life becomes purposeful and meaningful on how we express them. Okay, expression is, emotions are very, very important in our life. Okay, so we at different situations we experience different emotions. Emotions can be defined as a combination of body arousal, expressive behavior, thoughts, bodily arousal, expressive behavior, thoughts, and feelings. So we can, the short form for this can be COBA, 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 EBT, EBTF, EBTF, EBTF. Okay. Um, so yeah, that is your emotions. We spoke about the theories of emotions, and these are like, there are historically different theories established. We spoke about all of the theories. I'm going to run through all of them. James Lang theory of emotion speaks that we express emotions, we experience emotions because of physiological arousal. So basically they said that we don't cry because we feel sad because we cry. So they said that there's a physiological arousal first. Like for example, um, you're doing something and you suddenly saw something which is threatening and you get scared of. Like as a child, you saw something like bhoot. So you first get the physiological arousal, and then you start feeling the emotion related to it. You might feel that, oh my God, how is this true? You have to also notice that at that point, there was when they made this theory at that time, there was a very little information, available at that point. So it made sense at that time. And then it obviously brings more way to different theories, and theories develop on that. So the Cannon Bard theory. So these two guys, so they disagreed with the James Lang theory, saying that only physiological arousal will not lead to experiencing a particular emotion, because we may feel and we may experience the same physiological arousal, but the emotions can be different. Okay, so they say that we don't cry only when we are sad, but we also cry when we are pleasant and surprised and happy. In the same way, when you're extremely excited, your heartbeats might go fast, and if you're nervous, also the same thing might happen. So he said that we experience physiological arousal simultaneously yet separately. Okay, they said that your sympathetic nervous system, okay, like you have your parasympathetic, your sympathetic nervous system, which we'll speak about later. Sympathetic nervous system interprets the stimuli which leads to physiological arousal like crying, and this same information is also interpreted by the brain, by which we become aware of our emotions. So we physiologically we interpret, oh my God, now my heartbeat is getting fast, and then your brain also interprets, and then we become aware of this emotion that, oh my God, my heartbeat is going fast, I'm having a panic attack, for example. Okay. See, this also makes a lot of sense in terms of panic attacks, because a lot of time people, they start experiencing physiological arousal before even recognizing some emotions. In the same way, like a recent counseling that I have, in that that person may experiences a lot of physiological thing, but there's a problem with expression of emotions. So when you ask the client that what is wrong, anything's happening, so emotional, and this happens to a lot of people, they cannot express that no, I'm fine, I'm not sad, I'm not feeling like this, but they're feeling physiological reactions to it. Okay. The third theory was Sachter and Singer's two-factor theory, and they said that they accept that our thoughts, which include perception, memories, and interpretations, contribute in the experience of emotions. So they said that physiological arousal will interact with our thinking process, and then we experience emotion. So physiological arousal, then we think about it, ki, oh, I'm feeling like this, and then we experience emotions. Okay. The neuropsychologist also acknowledged the role of amygdala, which is a part of your brain, in the experience of emotions. Okay. Just have to remember this for say MCQ. Amygdala is an important part which has direct connection with your emotional memories and your emotions and all of those things. Now, according to them, depending on the complexity of emotions, we prefer to process them differently in our brain. Okay, how complex it is, we process them differently. Now, the James Lang theory, I like this. It's a very nice description. So they said arousal leads to fear. They said, these guys said that arousal and fear will exist together because they are simultaneous, and plus why? Because arousal is not pounding heart is not necessarily fear, it could also be something else. Sachter Singer's theory said that pounding heart arousal plus your cognitive label, okay, that oh my god, I'm feeling scared or I'm feeling nervous, so your cognitive label along with your pounding heart leads to your fear emotion. So this is an important addition to that. Yep. Let's see the facial feedback hypothesis, which says that our facial expressions provide feedback to our brain concerning our emotions. So it will not only results in our emotions, but also capable of influencing our emotions. So smiling more frequently can in fact make you happier, which is true. You know, they in psychology they say fake it till you make it, as in we use this quite literally, because if you constantly keep smiling, your facial feedback, your facial expression gives a feedback to your brain that, oh, this person is smiling, it means she's happy. So you automatically start feeling better. And which has found like good research evidence. Okay, now the basic emotions, these are not there, but like in the movie, you'll see these are the 6 basic emotions. And all of those 6 are your happiness, sadness, surprise, disgust, anger, and fear. Okay. Um, it's cancelled for this year's portion. Okay. Uh, your higher, these are your basic emotions which are universal. So this guy Paul Ekman, I had spoken about him, he went and found out that these universal emotions, wherever you are in this world, whether you are connected to human beings, whether you watch movies or anything, but anybody who's sad will cry. Everywhere they experience anger, fear, these are universal emotions for human beings. Okay. And higher cognitive emotions include your shame, pride, jealousy, guilt, envy, all of this, embarrassment, all of these things. Okay. Okay, let's go for Plutchik's model. Plutchik's model of emotions have evolved over a period of time for increasing our chances of survival. Okay, so they say that, he says that emotions have evolved so that we are better at, so it's like the Darwin theory, that we are constantly evolving. So he says that there are 8 basic emotions. You have anybody has a question? No, right?
Plutchik's model is not there, right?
Oh, is it not there? Okay. Okay. We still did it last time. Are you sure it's not there?
It's there, it's there. Plutchik's model is there.
Cancelled.
Only this one is cancelled. Which one? Basic emotions is cancelled. Basic emotions is cancelled,
Okay, let's
and
just go through it quickly, still to be safe. Okay. So this Plutchik's model of emotions, he says that emotions have evolved over a period of time. And okay, obviously it doesn't make sense that this will be there, but let's just go over it. So your joy, trust, fear, surprise, sadness, anticipation, anger, and disgust. Each primary emotion also has the polar opposite. So sadness is the opposite of joy, for example. Fear is the opposite of anger. And through this, you will see the darker the color, the first line has a the first line has, like more strong, intense emotions. Okay. You can somebody can I think Twinkle can mute, yeah. We have a lot of crows, and I have like more crows who attend the lecture literally near my house also. All of them just come whenever I'm teaching. They have fun. So the darker the color, like rage, the more stronger the emotion. Terror, then fear, then apprehension is not so much. In the same way, admiration, then trust and acceptance, ecstasy, joy, serenity. So he spoke about like a more complex model of emotions. He said that he saw it from the perspective of emotional literacy. So that not just having words for emotions, but understanding how they are related to each other is very important, and how they tend to change over a period of time. So emotions can change. It's very important to understand, to be literate about emotions. You know how many emotions are there? It's a fun fact. Any idea of how many emotions in the world? No? 7,000. I had a book called Emotions. Yeah. So there are so many emotions. So we need to have this kind of a literacy. Okay. And this is a very old book that I had. In fact, one of these James Lang guys only wrote it. Okay. So emotional literacy is not just having words, but also understanding how different emotions are related to each other. And that once you're literate about it, you're able to address them in a more healthy way to avoid triggering them in the future. Emotions which are not expressed in a healthy way can lead to physiological, psychological, both problems. Okay. And may lead to, like just like I said, one of the persons that I'm working with, the major issue is that she needs there's an there's a problem with expression of emotions. There is no expression at all. So it does come out in the form of some response, right? There's a lot of research which says that your, for example, guilt is associated with problems in kidney, or say somebody's faced injustice, feeling of not being able to forgive for what injustice others have done, may have a connection with cancer. So if you're not able to express your emotions, it does lead to, I mean, obviously this I'm saying this because it's just a it's important from life perspective. So it's important to be literate and to be able to express and manage emotions. And I'll send the emotion wheel, which is really interesting, that helps you actually specifically address that. Okay, I'm feeling sad, but what in sad? Is it lonely? Is it this? It narrows down to exactly what you're feeling. Just expressing that itself does cures a lot of problem. Like last time I'd shown you that video of World War guys who were having these uh, fit like gestures. When they were walking, they couldn't control their legs shivering and they would fall off and their body would constantly shake. There was no physiological basis to it, but it was just undealt emotions, and Sigmund Freud kind of helped them, and that's how psychology came into existence. So this was just a side note. But emotions are very important. Emotion is derived from the Latin word emovere, which means to stir up or move. According to David G., human emotion involves physiological arousal, expressive behavior, and a conscious experience. So all of these things. So your cognition, emotion, and connotation, all of them are there. Cognition is what you perceive and interpret a situation as, and it leads to a physiological arousal. Emotion is the sign, the outward sign or the expression of what you're feeling. Okay. And connotation basically is your behavior which causes you the urge to take action. For example, if you're scared, you will want to run away. If you're angry, you might just want to shout. Okay. So connotation is your behavior. Think, analyze, and act. Okay, that's an exercise. Physiological changes refer to automatic responses, automatic reactions that happen in the body because of a response to stimulus. So basically, what happens first is that the brain at the cognitive level perceives the stimulus as, say, dangerous. Okay, this something's happening. This is dangerous, and your pupils will dilate. You will you have a faster heartbeat, impulse rate will increase, sweating. A lot of people feel this, for example, in an exam situation. A lot of physiological changes. They start getting scared. They want to scream, yell, cry. The cognitive level is when they're perceiving the stimulus as dangerous. Oh my God, what will happen? What will happen? Anxiety attacks, some panic attacks, some people get. The next is the emotional level. You experience, you experience the fear. Okay, your autonomic nervous system. Your autonomic nervous system and the glandular system signals the pituitary gland. So your glands, pituitary gland is um, it gets a signal, okay, which then tells the adrenal gland to secrete cortisol. So your autonomic nervous system and glandular system will signal the pituitary gland, okay, will signal the pituitary gland, which tells your adrenal gland to secrete cortisol hormone. Let's just make a short form for this. So um, AG, okay, AG, you can remember it as AG. AG is fire. AGP, you know, AGP, my father calls AGP Agale Padja. People who are very chipku is like, they're like AGP. So just think of it as AGP. So autonomic nervous system and glandular system signal the pituitary. So AGP, which gland which activates the adrenal gland. So AGP, आ गले पड़ जा, AGP, AAC, ARC, AAC, AGP, AAC. That's your short form. AAC means, okay, let me still write it down here. AGP and AAC. AAC is your AGP is again autonomic and glandular, tell your pituitary. Pituitary will activate your adrenal gland, which will produce, which will secrete cortisol hormone, which triggers either fight or flight response. So cortisol is basically your stress hormone, and it will lead to a fight or a flight response that you want to run away. In fact, cortisol, these stress hormones also have the ability to kind of suppress your immunity. So that's why if you take stress, something like corona can also affect you more. Why? Because it suppresses your immunity. Okay, because it needs you to fight and flight and respond at that situation. The next one is your connotation level, which is your action plan. So you either run away or you, for example, you're in a situation where you feel it's dangerous. Like even if it's an exam, okay, the first one was that you perceive that, oh my God, something cognitive level, you're knowing that there is a threat, I might fail, what will happen? I don't know what will happen. So you get physiological arousal. Next is your emotional level where you experience your fear that, oh my God, I'm scared. And then your cortisol is secreted. The connotation level is you might just either puke or not feel well. And a lot of people actually come to the exam hall and they might have to leave back home. So when we work in counseling, we have to go through all of these levels so that we kind of disengage these feelings from them. Okay, let us take, say, strong basic emotion of joy and happiness. Okay, it releases dopamine, which is the happy hormone, and secretes and serotonin hormone. Both of these are like happy, dopamine and serotonin. In depression, in fact, serotonin levels are significantly low. Okay, so SSRI are those inhibitors which kind of make sure that your serotonin lasts for a longer time in your brain. Okay, both these chemicals are heavily associated with happiness. You smile more, your face flushes, you know, they are related to basically your happy emotions. Strong basic emotions like sadness, fear, anger, they are directly linked. One second. Yeah. They are directly linked to arousal of physiological changes which occur during emotions, especially internal and external. So your internal brain includes your CNS, which is your and ANS, autonomic nervous system, and central nervous system. CNS, autonomic nervous system, glandular system, adrenal gland, limbic system, and so amygdala is a part of, say, limbic system, and adrenal gland is a part of glandular system. That is your internal brain. It leads to physiological responses. So your mouth is dry, or you'll see that you're perspiring, your heart rate is going up. Okay, there's a decrease in GI tract functioning. External will be basically your visceral and muscular system, which means your voice and volume and tone will change. Your facial expression changes. You will start sweating, forehead, palms, feet, wrinkles on the forehead. All of these things start changing. Okay, basically erection of hair. They could have just said goosebumps, but that's what happens. Okay, and your skin temperature also changes. Okay, so there is a response. There is a way your body also responds to emotion. Emotional expression is very important because most of your psychological issues start working out, because you're, especially in a country like India, we are not allowed to experience certain emotions. For example, if you're angry with somebody, for example, your parents, you're angry with your parents. Nobody can say that I'm angry with my parents. So you're not allowed to say it. No matter what. Like some kids who are from the orphanage, um, you know, if somebody says that, oh my god, I hate my parents, everybody will be like, oh my god, how can you say that? Or even with other people, if you say that I'm angry that my mom did this, she told about me to all my friends ki main padti nahi, or she told about me to her friends. So the mother will, you might feel angry, but you know what everybody will also say, कि अरे ये तो तुम्हारी मम्मी है, तुम ऐसे मम्मी के बारे में कैसे बोल सकते हो, and those kinds of things. So this is a small example, but in the future there might be other undealt issues, like for example, say sexual abuse or those kinds of issues which kids are not allowed to experience or allowed to share. That can lead to a lot of problems. That's why emotional expression is important, and you have to be very conscious of how you express your emotions and deal with them in a healthy manner. So research has proven that gratitude, mindfulness is living in the moment. Gratitude is being grateful, thank you, saying thanks for things that you have. Altruism is basically helping behavior. Okay, kindness, empathy. Empathy is putting your feet in other people's shoes. So understanding what they are going through. Like I understand you guys, when you all are tired and bored, and I see on your face that okay, no more of psychology. So that is empathy. Okay, compassion is you are acting out on your empathy, you're going and helping people, you forgive. All of these people help you balance your emotions. First, to be able to forgive, first you have to express, you have to understand this is what I'm feeling, and then you are basically challenging those emotions. Okay, now emotional well-being, uh, physical well-being is observable by, because if somebody is really fat or somebody is really thin, they also know that okay, I need to work on this. You can clearly see it. Emotional well-being is not very easily observable. A lot of times people see that, oh, ye to theek tha, isko kahan depression tha, mujhe to laga hi nahi. You may not be able to see it very easily, and it can be measured on basics of how a person rationally handles a situation in a calm and healthy manner. Okay, so like for example, if you are very upset about something, you might just you might just panic about the smallest thing. You'll be like, oh my god, what's wrong, isme kya hai? But if it means that the person is not emotionally doing well, if they're reacting to small things, or not calm in small things. Okay, um okay, emotional well-being is now gaining importance in today's fast-paced lives. So external stressors like peer pressure, exam pressure, family expectations, they can all have an impact on us. And negative emotions, and we experience negative emotions while coping with such stressors. So we can manage these negative emotions so they don't prevent us from leading a, because they don't, if we don't manage, basically they don't let us live a good life, because there is a constant pressure. Your family will expect you to do well, you are supposed to do other things. So that kind of a constant pressure that you feel, okay, in these fast paced lives, so they don't let you live a healthy peaceful life, no matter how much money you have, no matter how chilled out you are. Okay, that's why emotional well-being means to manage our emotions, both positive and negative ones, so that we can lead a healthy and productive life. If you watch those funny videos, America's funniest videos, in there you'll see a lot of times when people are so happy they faint, at a wedding they're so happy, khushi ho rahi hai, and they start crying. Okay, so it's important that you kind of are able to manage both positive and negative emotions together, because too much positivity, oh my god, I'm so excited, and if you have a heart problem, you might end up having another thing, okay, another heart issue. So you have to be careful with that. Okay, your yeah, so that we can lead a healthy, productive life. Therefore, understanding and managing your emotions and encouraging positive emotions, not getting overwhelmed by the situation, is important. Okay, and negative emotions are very important to emotional well-being. So, like you must, if you've seen the film Inside Out, in the end, in the start, this joy emotion is trying to get rid of sadness. Ki, bhai, you are not important. You're just ruining. Riley's the girl. You're just ruining her life or making her feel sad. But negative emotions are very important. Why? Because until and unless she was sad and she cried and she told her parents that I'm not feeling fine, I'm not feeling, she could, so unless and until you cry or experience a negative emotion, you can't seek help. And until and unless you express that negative emotion, people around you will not know that you are. And that's why negative emotions are equally important. Like you why do you go why are people compassionate, why do they go and help others? Because they're experiencing negative emotions, they feel terrible about the situation some people are in, and they go and help. So that's why they're important. Okay, now let's see, how do we achieve emotional well-being? So there are three major ways: physical, emotional, and social. Physical includes in exercising, because in exercising releases endorphins. These are again happy hormones, they make you feel good. So I always tell people that if you constantly exercise, it can help you help out with, say, problems like depression, stress, sadness. Eating a good diet is very important. Just eating pizzas and burgers because we like may not provide for our nutritional needs. Okay, now this new bird also wants to teach at the same time, but I enjoy this new bird um, in my background. Okay, so that is your physical ways. Emotional ways are basically you find meaningful activities. You're connecting with optimistic people, which help you develop. Okay, you practice mindfulness. Mindfulness is staying in this moment. जिंदगी के सफर में गुजर जाते हैं जो मकाम वो फिर नहीं आते, which means you know that if this moment is gone, it will not come back. Live in this moment. और that song, आगे भी जाने ना तू पीछे भी जाने ना तू, जो भी है बस यही एक पल है. So your happiness is in this moment. The more you live in the present, the more happy you are. Okay, I last time also told about how say for example in people who kind of miss, oh my god, I wish school days were back. In school days they were missing nursery days. I mean, you have to live in the moment, because happiness is in this moment. Problems and sadness are in the past. Grudges and like if you're not able to forgive is because you're living in the past. If you're feeling anxious is because you're living in the future. So mindfulness is very helpful. Social is you have meaningful relationships with others, very important. That helps you provide emotional support. Volunteering or doing something like helping others in small ways, that helps your self-esteem, reduces sadness, increases feelings of gratitude, because you see other people. For example, go to an orphanage, you see, oh my god, I have so much more than them. Okay, now, these are the benefits of emotional well-being. So I'm going to go quickly over it. Coping with stress, you're able to deal with it better. You can regulate yourself. That is, self-regulation includes dealing with your emotions, your fears. You don't let your fears, anxiety overpower you. You're able to control them. In an exam hall, if you feel too anxious and you run away, that will not happen. If you're emotionally doing well, you'll be able to control, regulate, and not be overwhelmed by them. It increases obviously your productivity, because you can think clearly, focus clearly, and your creativity increases, because you're open-minded, you're open to solving problems. Your brain is not occupied with sadness and problems, and you're overwhelmed with only, oh my god, why did he leave me, and those kinds of thoughts. And life satisfaction, basically because you're able to build healthier relationships and do better in life. And this is also important. Why? Because emotional well-being, so if you're having troubles with that, it's important to also seek a counselor. Okay, emotional abuse. Okay, we have this. So emotional abuse, just like you have physical abuse, okay, like somebody is hitting you, there is a form of emotional abuse. Okay, emotion is used as a weapon of choice to control the other person. So a lot of, and it's very hard to recognize. So sometimes, parents, I've seen parents who are emotion. One another case of for that I'm dealing with currently. The father is so strict that you have to do this. There even though the student is extremely good in humanities, no, you have to become an IITian. So that's if you don't, then what is my life? My life is not worth it. Kind of that harms the confidence of the victim, and they feel wounded emotionally. That damages their self-esteem. They don't even feel confident in things that they are good at. So that could be emotional abuse. Very important. Your types of emotional abuse include your verbal, so yelling, swearing, embarrassing other people, labeling that, okay, ये तो lot of times parents ऐसे मजाक में, ये तो मेरा ढीला बेटा है, ये मेरी अच्छी बेटी है. So labeling can also lead to constantly everybody's labeling you as not being good enough and those kinds of things. Non-verbal way में they could be rejecting, ignoring, grouping everybody's becoming one group and you're being ignored. That is also emotional abuse. So you have to check if you are prone to getting emotional abuse. you're more likely to be emotionally abused when you prioritize other people. You want to please everybody. You're ready to sacrifice for others, but they don't reciprocate. So you're ready to, okay, I want to study humanities, but my father wants me to do engineering, so I will leave it and I'll do engineering. Okay, I'm not saying that it's a bad option, but the thing is that if you're totally not good, if you have a problem, if you have a difficulty like a learning difficulty, dyscalculia or something with maths, you can't expect the child to do. Not everybody can do, not everybody is interested. Even if they can do it, not everybody is interested in it. But they're constantly being pressured that you have to score best, you have to do this. That causes emotional abuse. If you feel guilty for standing up for yourself, you repress your feelings because others should not feel bad, and you feel that you deserve this treatment because I am not hardworking, I am bad. You believe that nobody would want to be with you. That's why you are prone to emotional abuse. How do you deal with it? When you fail to confront mistreatment, you become an accomplice of your own emotional abuse. So there are simple step. One is set personal boundaries, disengage. Know that abuse is not your fault. It's not your, any form of abuse is, you don't deserve that kind of a thing. For exam point of view, you can remember a few of these points. Don't give an immediate reaction. You have to decide that you will respond to the abuser more assertively. Give yourself the time to heal, and professional help always helps. Prioritizing your care is also very crucial, and breaking the silence and standing up for yourself. Okay, let me just see. We still have anger management and this part left. We have like 1.5 minutes. So I'm going to do this, okay, after this quick small 5-minute break. So, but emotional abuse basically means that you have to make sure that you are not constantly being abused, and it becomes like a cycle, because you are, you, because you're being emotionally abused, you lose confidence in yourself, and because you lose confidence in yourself, you believe that you deserve to be abused, and then it becomes a cycle. So any form of abuse, you don't have to take it. You don't need to. There are very simple steps. You have to set your personal boundaries. Most important thing is, realize that abuse is not your responsibility. No matter how bad you are at studies or anything else, you don't deserve to be abused in any circumstances. Okay. Hold up.